I call this the new front door. It's also the door to the vault. This is the front door to your business, the door to your getting phone calls, the door to letting people know who you are and what you do, all ends up being inside this vault, and they own it. There are others, but Google is the search engine of choice, and so all the others are trying to be Google, so we really follow Google in terms of what we study in order to be sure that we're communicating with Google about our clients. So to the degree that we can speak Google language, that's how search works. So point of it is to have power. If you are in a business in which somebody else does the same thing you do, if you're in solar and you're trying to get the word out that you offer this and that you have something unique compared to the other guy, this is it's what SEO is. I realize most of you know most of this, but I never know exactly who all I'm going to have in a class. And this is the best way I can think about SEO. To me, it's like being in a game of Where's Waldo. So when the internet started, it was, there were a bunch of us out there, but not every business had a website. And if they did have a website, you could compete and you could pass out your business card and people would actually type in www.yourbusiness. And so you could be found. And then it got busy. And then you really needed people to type it in properly or they might not even find you. But then search came along, which was great. And so people would type into search and find you. But here's the problem. Search now, people aren't putting in your name, they're putting in what you do. So you look just like everybody else that does the same thing you do. For those search terms and phrases you want to be found for, other people want to be found for them as well. So that's, to me, what the key is to all of what I do every day, is to make this happen. Have you come up for what it is you're good at. Our mission at Spiderweb is that we get business found we get you found online, but my belief is that every business, every nonprofit should be able to be found for what they're best in the world at. And everybody's best in the world at something. If you do heating and air conditioning, you're something better than the next guy. And if you're in conservation and there are competitors in your field, my goodness, I mean, when people want to donate, there's competitors online. It's making sure that the world knows what it is that makes you different. So I was going to talk about what the two differences are. There's organic SEO and local SEO. Organic SEO is what you do to make your website get found online in search. So it's about priming your website. That's what organic search is. That's what we all used to think of. If I talked about SEO 2 years ago, I was always talking about this. It's all about your website getting found. But then, and this is where it gets found, right? So it's not the advertising part of the page, it's the organic results. Right? I've got another example, I think, here. The organic results are these. Because people are knowledgeable enough for the most part to not click on ads because they know that they were paid for, and that this is organic reach. But we're going to be talking about this as well. So that's organic SEO. I'm sorry I drew on there. Local SEO is getting found for what you offer at the exact time someone's looking for it. Because people don't do the depth of research for days that they used to do. They will look at the weather and say, the weather's beautiful today, I think maybe we'll stop at a restaurant and stay overnight in St. Michael's, and you had better come up in local search on their phone. And interestingly enough, it isn't just people who are traveling, I mean, it's everybody. So what we're talking about in terms of local results is this. This is the new SEO, getting found here. And that is primed, this little section is set up to come up on your mobile device. So if I'm looking for interior designers near me, by golly, I'm going to look at that, and if that has stars and ratings on it, I'm going to go by those stars and ratings as well. So the reason local search exists is because this is how, obviously, we all work. And you've got to have your search primed for what people will say and not what you think you do, but in fact what they would say. And there's tons of data out there on that we look into, because the more complicated, the more long tail the keywords that we use for you to describe you, the better that you're going to get leads from that are what you want. That actually, if you're an architect and you don't want people who are going to spend less than 200 grand, you want only people who are spending over 200 million, that it really has to do with the words that those people would use in search to come up. So local search is all about making sure we prime to talk to these guys. I saw it in a paper, it said today's SEO is not about the newest smartphone or the next big app, and I thought, what are you talking about? It's absolutely about the newest smartphone, the next big app, because if anybody's using it, then it matters to you. It absolutely matters to you, because it's about using those technologies to get found. And you've got to be found where someone searches for you, no matter where they are. They're going to expect it, and they're going to expect to see what other people think of you. So location data or local SEO. Most of this is just proving that same point, that here's 73% of consumers lose trust in brands that have inaccurate listings. So if you're listed on Yelp and Bing and Google, but on Facebook it's a slightly different address, and on somewhere else it's not listed, and then there are 200 listing sites. 73% of people, if it's not all the same, get nervous that maybe you're not in business, or maybe you don't care enough to make sure that you put the information out there that they need. 93% of sales still occur in person. 4 in 5 local mobile result searches result in a purchase, which is pretty sweet. And 40%, I don't think this is a surprise to anybody, that in-person purchases start with online research. 55% of conversions occur within an hour of the initial mobile search. That's big. And I'm thinking of you in terms of that, because I'm going to be thinking about donating at the end of the year when I think it's my time to donate. I have this money, and there are all these really good places, and I'm gonna go on my mobile device at 2 a.m. and say local charities that have to do with the environment. And if you come up and I see that you are in that local pack and you're rated, and then you have this beautiful navigation so that I go right to the donation button and I'm done and I can sleep now. That's important. And then 76% of purchasing decisions are made in person and locally, so that's local search. So if you ask 10 random people, or if you asked 10 directory listings, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Yahoo, Merchant Circle, the address to a pizza place, imagine if they were all consistent. Every person you asked, every directory listing you asked online said, yep, that pizzeria is at this address with this phone number. Boom. People have a high confidence in you, and they also feel, and I feel strongly about this, people feel that you respect them if you have shown that you care, that you're giving them the right information. When you don't take the time to do this, people feel you don't respect their time. And a respect of time is huge.
Makes me feel like they're a legitimate business too.
Yes, exactly. So normally if you ask 10 random people, you're going to get all different answers. And that's going to lower your confidence. And the next thing that's going to happen, of course, is you're going to look and see who else besides Goodfellow you can find, because you've given up on Goodfellow even though someone told you to go there. So listings, and I'm going to show you an example of a listing after this, but listings that have 14 of 14 or are completely filled out. So the listing on Google Places or Google My Business, the listing on Yelp, the listing on Yext, the listing on Merchant Circle, the listing on Local Ease, the listing on Bing. If those are 100% filled out, they have 347% more searches.
Is this why Google keeps calling me and asking me to fill out?
Don't do it. Don't do anybody that calls you. Don't do anybody that calls you.
I don't want to, I just want them not to call me.
No, this is a chance for you to do it yourself. And you know, again, I can give you stats and you can read them, but the truth is, it's all about giving people everything that they need to know when they need to know it. And this is an example of a listing. So here's a Yahoo listing. Those are the 14 things. I don't know if everybody can see those, but you get the idea that people want to know. It's the business name, it's the number, it's the location, it's the map, it's the event calendar, maybe a photo gallery. If you're a restaurant, a menu, or if you sell services, your list of your services. Oftentimes you have your coworkers or your team members as part of this. This is what a completely filled out directory listing looks like. And then there are 200 or so directory listings out there. I would say about 72 to 75 that really, really matter. So the key is not only doing this, but then making sure you keep checking it to make sure it doesn't get edited by a third party. So we can talk a little bit about that. But so inconsistent listings, you're not going to go to Goodfellas, you're just going to go over to John's Pizzeria. But if everybody, if Goodfellas is just all over the local listing, obviously that's going to look like the place to go. You can do it yourself. And it's one of the things that I feel strongly about is when I give these talks, in our case, we do this for a living for businesses, but you can do this yourself. It's just high maintenance, mostly because there are this many out there. But any of this, if you've got the time, any of this can be done yourself. There are some drawbacks, but all of these can be done yourself, and it makes a difference in whether or not you're considered legit. These are just examples of some of the directories online, and then I added government documents, data aggregators, public records, publications, and then you have to remember user suggestions. So if you have made this nice little thing on Yahoo that says all kinds of things about you, remember that other people can go on there and say, you know what? In fact, we have a client that's a busy place that gets reviewed all the time, and we got a review come in that somebody said he didn't have a handicapped bathroom. You know, great place, great service, don't have a handicapped bathroom. Well, they did have a handicapped bathroom. So because it goes through us, we knew that, and we got that signal, and we were able to correct it. But people are always rating you, and not always correctly. So you want to be watching for those, is what I want to say. So you want to continue to look at these and see if anybody's changed it. There are nefarious reasons that people will go out and edit your data as well. When you do it yourself, you don't get notified when something comes through, and somebody can change it without, unless you're following all 72, without you knowing. And that's sometimes where we get business, is we have a client that comes in, he's been in business 30 years, and he had an employee who was fired for embezzlement, went to jail, and in jail she has access to a computer, and she understands the internet, and she wreaked havoc with his listings online. And it's taken a year for him to come back, because he's been trying to expand in the Washington, D.C. area, and the reputation he had here mattered. And she was able to go in as all these different names and numbers and reviews and give them bad reviews.
I'm sorry.
That's because they can do that. If you work through a company like ours, we have the ability to edit those.
Is it by virtue of her posting a review saying, like you were talking about the handicapped restroom, Or is it that she can actually get to the
Those-
statistics?
No, she just went in and said, these are terrible people, I went to
Oh,
them
so-
and they did terrible
So
work.
it's the
And
review part of it?
it's the review part.
Okay,
And the review is huge. That's really what local search is. It's all about review.
okay.
So, and as much as I talk about these as two different kinds of search, in the end, they feed each other. Google looks at local search and local ratings, and actually just a few months ago started using how many times you have been reviewed or rated as part of deciding whether or not to bring you up in organic. Not just in local pack, but in the organic.
Like TripAdvisor.
So they all fit.
And the worst thing you can do is not respond, or,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, you've got to
You've got
respond.
to respond, and you've
we'll
got to
do-
respond quickly, and.
I don't think it's the next one, but in 2 months I'm gonna do how to respond.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, because it's gotta become habit.
mhm.
And then, if you wanna see how you're doing, if you go to our website, which, is the last you're gonna see of this, finally, of our old website, because we've been working on a new one for a very long time. So I'm happy to say that it will be about to debut, but if you go to it now, there's sort of a blue page, and on it says, go ahead and review your own business. And you can see how you're doing on 70 or so listing sites. If you want to just go on there and do it, you can do it on your phone, it's free. Take a look at it, and it'll tell you which ones are correct right now, so maybe you have 15 out of 70 are correct, and the rest aren't. It'll tell you which aren't, so that it'll give you some direction.
That's cool.
So there you go. Audit tool.
So what site is that you go on?
Spiderwebconnections.com on the front page. Yeah. So that was a quick rundown, but I'd be interested in knowing what it is you'd hope to learn or want to know that isn't a part of that. That presentation really was for people who kind of needed an introduction to know what it was, but I get the feeling that people here kind of know what it is. So what is it you'd like to know about search, and what would you like to know about how you get reviews and ratings, and whether or not you're allowed to edit those or not? Do you have questions related to your own
All of the
businesses?
above.
All the above?
Yes.
Well, in terms of reacting, you can always react to a review if you know about it.
Mhm.
You can't always talk to Yelp, Yext, Google, Yahoo about a review that's a spam review unless you work through an agency. So that's what we do. So we have, so when this person said, great service but no handicap bathroom, that came to us. We call the client, double check they have a handicap bathroom. In fact, asked him to send us a photo so that we put it on his Google listing that day and show it. And then we pay all of these many sites a certain amount each month in order to let us have some interaction with it, and we can call them and say, this one was wrong and this is why. And they will let you do that.
Well, like the Island Inn on Sanibel Island, closely associated with them. So they get reviews from TripAdvisor, and when there's a bad review on TripAdvisor, they're immediately on that and explain either what happened or.
TripAdvisor doesn't help them in local search.
Okay.
TripAdvisor helps in organic.
Okay.
So when you look them up, TripAdvisor very likely will come up. When you look
Yeah.
their name up, they're going to TripAdvisor, because TripAdvisor is helping itself with those reviews. It's bringing itself up in organic search.
Mhm.
But what it's not doing is putting any ratings on any of the other rating sites that are out there. So we work with clients like that in order to spread that around, so that when they get reviews, we sometimes put it on TripAdvisor, and we sometimes put it on Google My Business, we sometimes put it on Facebook, depending on where they most need reviews. And that's all decided, via algorithms that decide where it needs.
So you post
review.
reviews on Facebook?
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. Yep.
Where do you get those reviews?
Well, there are all kinds of ways. You can put something on your website. You can put something on your listings online. Give us a
Mhm.
review. Or in the case for a lot of our clients, what we do is they'll tell us at the end of the week all of the clients they met with that week, and which ones they'd like us to send an email out to that just says, you know, we really appreciated working with you and hope that we did a good job, and we're a small business and we'd love a review. If you don't mind, click here, and we make it that easy, and they click there, and then we determine, our algorithm really determines whether it's gonna go to Facebook, or whether it's gonna go to Yahoo, or whether it's gonna go to Google My Business. Google My Business tends to be the one mostly, because that's the one that comes up on mobile for most devices, but it's not the only one. And Google determines the value of those reviews, and so we actually work with Google to get, you know, that parameter of which one should we get. So that person gets one, you know, one email, they click it, and they can click in 2 clicks on their phone. And they don't need to decide where it's gonna go, it'll go there automatically. But you can do that yourself. You can ask people, you can give them the link, and you can say, you know, I really appreciated working with you. I'm a small business, reviews are important to me. If you wouldn't mind leaving me a review, huge. And I think that is absolutely the #1 thing that's gonna matter going forward. I'm not gonna donate to a charity, I'm not gonna hire an interior designer, I'm not going to go to a mediator, I'm not gonna go to a psychologist, I'm not gonna go to a dentist unless I see that that company has ratings, you know, 5-star ratings better than the next guy. And it matters how many ratings you have. You can't have, as you know, when you look at it, if there's 3 bed and breakfasts in St. Michael's, and they all have 4.5 stars, but one of them has 1 review and the other has 78, and this one has 2,088,
Right.
you're going there.
Right.
You're going there. And the interesting thing is now Google and the search engines know that, and now they follow that. And that person will now come up in organic search, that other side of the page. But TripAdvisor will always come up ahead of them, because TripAdvisor gets that many, it has that much weight. So when someone gives a review on TripAdvisor, I can go see it, but when they give me 5 stars, as much as it benefits me, if someone looks at me on TripAdvisor, it doesn't benefit me in local search, because they have to go to TripAdvisor to see it.
Yeah.
It's not showing up on their mobile phone, it's not showing up on Yahoo, it's not showing up.
Isn't Yelp the same way as TripAdvisor? It seems like you gotta go to the Yelp site to
No,
get the reviews.
not necessarily. To get the reviews, yes, I think Yelp and TripAdvisor, Yelp is too. Yelp's one of the ones that keeps itself separate. Yep.
Okay.
And and so when it gets reviews, it's helping itself get up in organic, but it's still important. And and Yelp is one of the ones that we go ahead and put them on. Not so much to help in organic search, but because people look for Yelp for reviews. Interesting thing about Yelp, if anybody's had to deal with Yelp, Yelp has a reputation, and it continues to have a very strong reputation for being one where they post negative reviews as having more value than positive reviews. And it's just part of, they say, their algorithm, but we've had issues with it for years, and you'll see people write about it. But Yelp will almost always post, you know, if you go to Yelp's description of, say, a building supply store, and they'll have 2 or 3 comments that someone left, and they're all 1 or 2 star.
Mm-hmm.
And that company owner will say to me, wait a minute, I go to Yelp, and I know there are 25 reviews, and 21 of them are 5 star. Why do they use those 3? And you can talk to Yelp all you want, and they'll just say, well, you know what, those have more value. And then they'll tell you, well, and then there are ways they tell you those have more value. They'll say, well, those people give more reviews in general than the other people. The other people, they only gave us a review once, we don't give them as much value as we do someone who rates businesses all the time. Well, unfortunately, what ends up happening on Yelp is you get those negative reviews. So the only way to fix that is to send a link to someone and say, you know, we've been good to you, be good to us, give us this review, and we put it on Yelp for you. That's the only way to get Yelp up.
Can you talk a little bit about the time that it takes to percolate up onto the local Google Maps, that kind of thing, listing your business?
12 hours.
Okay.
for each site?
No, I mean, 12 hours or less. I mean, it can be less than 12 hours. If you, to get someone up on all 200 would take probably 6 weeks. To get on the major ones can be instant. We pretty much tell people that the majority of those listings will be correct and in line and completely fulfilled in a month. But on the Google My Business map, we can make it happen instantly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a conversation with Google through the AdWords Express program, and I was told that it just kind of happens over time. There's nothing that you can do to sort
You
of
can't.
hurry that process.
We can because we pay Google. We can, as an agency, since we're an agency partner. So you have to wait a little bit longer probably, but you absolutely can do it, and it doesn't have to cost you anything.
Okay. Well, we're there now, but,
Yeah,
you know, okay.
yeah. And that's true with all of them. I mean, they take it, you know, they
When I
At varying
get, I
periods
get
of time.
solicitation phone calls all the time at my B&B. We are a partner of Google, blah, 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 blah. And I always consider that they're not real, that's not really Google calling you.
It's not Google calling.
What is that relationship that they have, or that you have, that you're contacting people with the, you know, they're wanting you to employ them for their services, something related to your Google listings. What is that?
Yeah, I never.
What is that about?
In my case, I partner with Yext. So Yext handles more than 200 listing sites. So we are a Yext certified partner, which means that we pay Yext to pay all those sites to allow us to have instant access and immediate access to every site all the time, and then lock and secure them so no one can edit them. Whether that be, you know, a government agency or whether that be someone who has, you know, doesn't like your business or is a competitor. We can lock those down. They do that with agencies because that's the the easiest way for them to get consistent, honest, direct information from the business owner. But you can do it yourself, and it's just a longer process. And when you call, they will try to sell you something. Just don't buy it. Don't buy, and because no one is going to. What you care about is being found in search. You don't care about being found in Yelp. You don't care about being found in Yahoo. You don't care about being found necessarily on Facebook. What you want is to be found no matter what. So you've got to have all of them. So don't pay a Yahoo $800 a month for them to say they're going to give you a premier listing. I have a client in St. Michael's that did that. $800 a month. Holy cow. He now pays us $99 a month and he's in all 200. You know, those certainly don't do someone that cold calls you. I've never cold called anyone, and I wouldn't cold call anyone. You know, you got it. I feel like it's really important for people to understand what it is that this is, and so they can understand it. If they want to do it themselves, if it works for them, great. If it doesn't, they can come to us. But the truth is that it's important to know what it is you're buying, and the salespeople are very, very good.
They get paid commission.
Huge,
They get paid huge commission.
Oh, huge commissions, yeah.
Mhm.
And yet it saddens me when they come, in this particular case, this fellow's spending $800 a month, and I said, you know, for $99 a month, we can do all of these. And he called, I think it was Yelp, and he had signed something that said he owed them for another 6 months, even if he canceled now. $800 a month for 6 months. This is a small business. This is a small retail business in St. Michael's. But he said the sales guy was so good. Yeah, you know, and you'll get those calls. And we tell people when we work with them that you'll continue to get those calls. Just always say no, thank you.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about keywords?
Yeah.
And where you know, how you utilize them?
Well, there are a number of ways to look up keywords yourself. You can go to Google Keyword Planner or Google AdWords and see what are people looking for, say, a bed and breakfast, or what are people looking for mediation services.
Right.
And you can even see it geographically, you can see it demographically, you can find those. Then the key is you don't just use those words, use them in context. The algorithms, literally by the hour, are getting better at understanding context.
On your website you're talking about.
On your website, anywhere that you produce information, you've got to produce it as if a person is going to read it, not a search engine. If you just if you have a sentence and you think, well, I want to use these key terms, so you stuff them in there and it doesn't sound like a natural sentence, the algorithms are that good. And they'll say, that sounds stupid. Ding. Or that sounds legit. They really do, sell whatever it is you're trying to say you sell. Day spa in St. Michael's or something. They really do have day spa with this massage and this type of acupuncture. But if you threw those words in and it didn't sound like a sentence, or it didn't sound natural, and it sounded like you're trying really hard to get a bunch of them in there, then they ding you. I mean, they're watching all the time. They're just, they want, their whole goal is, they want a user to find the best answer to their query. And so, no matter what it is, they want truthful information from you, so they can give truthful, honest, sincere information back to the user. Because if they can do that, then they can stay a search engine of choice.
And how do they make their money? Ads?
Ads are a big part of it.
So all the stuff that pops up on the right-hand side of the screen?
Actually, it's all on the top of the screen now.
Oh, okay.
Because on the right-hand side now is local search.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
I was doing it this morning, so that's why I remember seeing the local search in the maps all on
Mhm.
the side. Mhm.
Susan, how do you control in local search if you want to do business in Easton versus Talbot County versus Eastern Shore versus
Great
Maryland?
question. You can, and that brings up two thoughts for me. One is you can absolutely tell those local search rankings what geographic area you want to cover.
Mhm.
You can make it quite specific. You can actually go on a map and put pinpoints around those counties that you want.